Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm JC, and I'm joined by Bonnie, Katie, and Leah talking about our one cool LGBTQ gal. Bonnie already talked about Leslie Gore, but before we dive back, Leah is going to tell us what's on the Gals Guide calendar for this week.
I totally am. So, for the week of June 13th through the 19th, on Thursday, June 16th, we are having our first film club meeting. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're actually doing film club. It's lovely. So, we're going to be talking about the film Battle of the Sexes, starring Emma Stone and Steve Carell. It's a biopic about Billie Jean King.
I'm meaning to see that.
I know, it's really, really good. So register for Film Club at galsguide.org and get all of the wonderful information and get to see the list of what movies are coming up. We are going to meet once a month. So Saturday, June 18th, check us out at the booth at Maker's Fair on the Noblesville Square. We're going to have a Juneteenth activity as well as crafts made out of books.
Nice.
I made a book cake this week, and it's going to be for sale at the booth. So 11 a.m. to 5, check us out. And then on Sunday, we are also going to be at a booth. It's a weekend of booth fun. Ooh. We're going to be at the Juneteenth Jubilee at the Nickel Plates Amphitheater in Fishers from 2 to 6. There's going to be artists, vendors, performers, food trucks, and a wonderful celebration of Juneteenth. So come see us this weekend. But I think JC has a random question for us first.
I want to know what your guys' favorite LGBTQ character in a movie or film is.
Oh, dun 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 dun. I feel like Bonnie's thinking.
Can I go with the TV show?
Yeah, sure.
Because I got it.
Why not?
What is it?
If so.
Yes.
Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
David Rose.
David Rose is great. Exactly.
I love it. And anytime I see on Facebook his quote about the different kinds of wines he likes, I
like
love it. I read
label.
it more than once. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like what's in the wine.
Exactly.
Yep, it's beautiful. And he's just amazing.
This is very, very true. Oh my gosh. What's so tough? I'm just gonna go out of sentiment. So RuPaul's Drag Race has been not only like a wonderful, you know what I mean, show, outreach, learning so much more about the drag community and the gay community. But also to see Rue grow, because Rue was kind of a little bit close-minded about transgender people being in drag show, and then eventually has been warming himself up to learn, you know, and it's like, you know what? He's at least going, you know what? I don't know what I don't know. But the sentimental reason is because my daughter and I would watch it together, and it would be so fun and so freeing. And then my daughter came out last year, so it kind of felt like just watching that show with her allowed her to feel like there was a community and there was a safe place to like come out, and to see her mom like totally loving the show and so therefore loving the community, that she's like, okay, this is gonna be fine.
That's
so
awesome.
Sentiment, Rue. Some would say I also named my cat after Ruth Bader Ginsburg and RuPaul, because I call my little black cat Rue all the time. So both.
Ruth Bader Poggins.
Yes, exactly. That's right. Oh, no, it's Ginsper. That's what we decided. Yes, Ruth Bader Ginsper. Although I'm usually rejected on that, except for the vet office. All right, Bonnie, who is yours?
I'm having trouble picking one.
Yeah. Who's your top three?
Think. Well, I recently finished watching shoot, what is the name of that show?
Shit Creek? No, I'm just kidding.
No. I'm going to say it's Girls in the City, but I don't think that's right.
There's a Girls in the City? Because there's Sex in the City.
Not Sex in the City.
Okay. Is it Heartstopper? No, I'm just kidding.
It's got...
It's a popular one right now.
That is my daughter's favorite right now.
It's my sibling Beckett. They're 14 now. And
it's a Comedy Central
I know.
show.
It is. Well, there's the graphic novel and the Netflix show, and it's everywhere. It's lovely. Yes.
It's bugging the crap out of
me. You're like, who was it? What was
something
the
in the city,
show? I mean, I just want to just say R2-D2 is also my favorite gay character in movies
100%.
because prove me wrong. There was that joke that R2-D2, the only reason why you hear beeps and whistles is because he curses like Samuel Jackson.
he's the filthiest.
Mouth like a sailor.
The filthiest mouth in the galaxy. That glorious R2. What show?
Broad
what movie?
City.
Oh,
Broad
Broad
City.
City.
Huh?
Oh,
Amazing show. I'm trying to pin down if there is
Yes.
one specific character. Like there's hints of
Yeah.
of the main girls who are besties that are like, maybe we should just be in a relationship. They're like,
Yeah.
no, I just like think I can't even think if there's the roommate is a for sure
Gotcha.
gay character, but like the whole show is just so inclusive
Yeah.
and like everything
Right.
with gender and race and just so awesome.
See, so the entire cast
The
of
whole
Broad
show.
City.
Yes.
Got it. That is a genius.
Love it.
JC, what is your fave today?
Oh. I guess kind of like Bonnie. My favorite is a show. It's called Black Sails.
Ooh.
And it follows Captain Nathaniel Flint on his essentially a revenge quest against the English Navy fleet.
Right.
Because, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but because of
Right.
very personal reasons
Right.
involving the LGBT community.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's a very well-written story,
Mhm.
and which I appreciate. It goes
Right.
on. It has a story to tell. It tells it in 4 seasons. Then it's done. It doesn't drag on.
Oh, nice.
Maybe it takes some liberties with history, but
It's probably filling in the parts we don't know.
probably. And
So,
it's fun. And
yeah.
I enjoy it very much.
Would you say it's a drama or would you say it's a comedy or?
Very much a drama.
Okay, it's a drama.
Yeah.
Because have you seen Our Flag Means Death?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Which is very much a
Right.
comedy. Highly recommend.
Yeah, that's like on one side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I feel like Black Sails is on the other. They're
Sweet.
similar kind of vibes, but one is very comedic and one is very drama.
But you get pirates.
Right,
So
either
if
way,
you're
you
in a
can't
pirate
lose.
show hole,
Mhm.
Black Sails. Okay, I did not know if it was really any good, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
No, it's good. I enjoy it.
Fantastic. Well, who do you have for us, darling?
So I have an artist of the name of Rosa Bonheur.
Ooh.
She was an animal painter in France in the 1800s, or another name for that is an animalier.
Oh, look at
um,
that. I think JC can do French.
I took enough years of it. I'd like to think I can.
Nice.
I know.
I'm just someone to
Um,
practice with now.
I know. And a little background on me. My history is in art history. So
Perfect.
I know this is kind of my jam.
Yes.
And she was a painter and animalier. She's credited as an early feminist.
Mhm.
She was openly a lesbian and lived entirely independently with no
Ooh.
need for financial support beyond what she made from her painting.
And we're talking what time period?
1800s.
Oh my god.
And so
Nice.
she really kind of set a precedent and became a role model to artists like Georgia O'Keeffe and Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
Kind of, setting your own trajectory and making your own way in the world.
Love
And
it.
so a little background on her. She was born March 16th in 1822 in Bordeaux, France.
Oh my goodness.
That's kind of southwest of Paris.
Okay.
She was the oldest child in a family of artists. Her father, Oscar Raymond, was a landscape artist, a painter, and her mother, Sophie, was a pianist.
Oh.
And taught piano lessons and all kinds of stuff, but was mostly a homemaker.
Gotcha.
And her 3 younger siblings also became accomplished artists.
Oh,
So so Auguste and Juliette were also animaliers. They painted animals. And then Isidore was an animal sculptor. So
Isidore.
I love that name.
Oh
Isidore
my gosh.
Duncan
That
Diamond.
needs to come back. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Yes.
Um,
Continue.
Absolutely. So all of her siblings, including her, were really kind of focused on animals, it
Yeah.
seems. It was a running theme. So the family moved from Bordeaux, which is kind of a rural area, to Paris in 1829, and Rosa was about 6. And she's noted as having been a mischievous, active child.
I like it.
She was sketching as soon as she could hold a pencil, but she struggled with reading and writing in particular. And she recalled an idea that her mother had. She says, quote, "One day she had a bright idea. She told me to draw an ass opposite of the A and a cow opposite of the C and so on."
Oh, yeah.
And so she recalled this memory with great fondness for her mother and teaching her essentially how to read.
How to read by using the visuals of animals.
Right.
Aww.
And so I think that kind of...
I thought it was going to be swear words, though. I was all excited.
I know.
An ass next to the A, a butt next to the... No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. I'm like, this is the best alphabet ever.
It could be fun. And the family themselves, particularly Rosa's father, adhered to Saint Simonianism. It's a Christian socialist sect that promoted utopian socialist values and a vision of universal harmony.
Wow.
And included total sexual equality.
Yes!
And so...
Sorry, I got very excited there. I was like, wait a minute. Yay!
I know this is something we can get behind. And Rosa noted, quote, "I was generally a leader in all the games. I did not hesitate now and again to use my fists. A masculine bent was given to my existence."
Nice.
And so about 4 years later, there was a cholera epidemic that swept through France.
Oh, that sucked.
And while her siblings and her father all survived, her mother sadly did not.
Oh, didn't survive the cholera.
I know. Kind of that funky time in history where
Right.
medicine was not quite all there.
Right, exactly.
Still figuring a lot of things out, a lot of trial and error.
A lot of, let's just put leeches on you and suck the blood out, and I'm sure that'll totally work.
Absolutely.
A lot of...
And at this point, her father kind of said, try putting her and her siblings in schools to kind of like, well, I'm a full-time painter. I don't have time to take care of my kids as in the same way that your mother did.
Right, exactly. Very 1800s, early 1900s philosophy. Let's throw them in an orphanage or give them a job.
Exactly. And so, but at school, Rosa was often disrupted, and she was expelled numerous times from various places.
I like it.
And so, after a failed apprenticeship with a seamstress, her father undertook her in his studio to kind of train her and develop her painter skills. By the time she was 12 or 13, Rosa was working in her father's studio and completed daily tasks. These included pencil drawings of plaster casts, engravings, and still lifes. As she progressed, she made studies of domesticated animals in the pastures surrounding the perimeter of Paris.
Gotcha.
So still very interested in animals. And then at 14, she began copying paintings at the Louvre. Her favorites included Nicolas Poussin and Peter Paul Rubens. So she has kind of, classical background, I suppose.
Right, as well. That Rubenesque.
Exactly.
She gonna have chunky sheep.
Chunky sheep.
Exactly.
There you go. Nice.
And then around this time, when she got a little older, she began studying animal anatomy and osteology in the abattoirs of Paris, and even went as far as dissecting animals at the National Veterinary Institute in Paris.
Oh, wow.
So really getting good foundational skills.
Yeah.
To,
what's the bone structure? What's the muscular
exactly.
structure? Oh, neat.
And I don't know how familiar you all are with paintings that Bonnie maybe.
Bonnie is, me and Katie just like to watch.
Right. But it's, it can be a very sculptural process as much as it is two-dimensional.
Yeah.
And so I think, getting what the nitty-gritty, what's underneath all this is definitely good work.
Yeah.
And from there, we kind of get into her early period when she was 19. Her father leased an apartment in Paris close to fields, farms, and animals for her and her siblings. So she was allowed to keep as small animals there. And that proximity really helped her and her siblings develop their skills.
I feel like this is like Bonnie in another life. There was, she had a little farm. She had lots of animals around her.
I want to know the names of her critters.
Exactly. I need to find that, honestly. I bet she kept records.
Oh, I bet you. She's got to have named everybody.
I know. And in that same year, in 1841, she debuted at the Paris Salon with two paintings, Goats and Sheep and Rabbits Nibbling Carrots. And from then on, she exhibited every year until 1855. So for about 14 years, she was exhibiting every year at the Paris Salon.
Holy cow.
Big deal.
Yeah.
And a year later, in 1842, a family friend commissioned Rosa's father to paint the portrait of his daughter, Natalie Mikas. And then the two of them became very close and pretty much inseparable from then on. Kind of childhood sweethearts kind of vibe. And then in 1843, she was starting to to sell her paintings regularly, so starting to kind of make this base income for herself. And Natalie helped Rosa by tending to her clothing and sewing and cleaning the studio and kind of taking on this more traditional stay-at-home female role. Right. And Rosa was the breadwinner in a sense.
Oh my God, this is so cute.
And Rosa was not at all shy about her sexual orientation. She's quoted as saying, "I only like the bowls I paint."
Oh, I like it.
And so a couple of years later, in 1851, Rosa is getting along really well in her painting, and she establishes a relationship with an art dealership. And this allows her for her works to be reproduced for greater viewership. And so, all of a sudden, in the 1850s, also you see this kind of growth in the English middle class, and those patrons are really enamored with her work. Kind of a pastoral, a lot of pastoral works, a lot of I guess celebration of rural life,
because they're mostly in the city and they're working really hard in the city, so it's kind of this remember back when life was simpler, or childhood, or
exactly
nice.
And in that same year, in 1851, Rosa started one of her most famous paintings, if not her famous painting, the Horse Fair.
Horse Fair. Ooh.
Yeah.
I need to look these up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so in preparation for this work, Rosa visited the horse markets in Paris twice a week for a year and a half.
Oh my goodness.
So really a lot of dedication and a lot of prep work went into this. It was unusual at this time for a woman to be around the horse markets. It was very much a male-dominated venue and kind of trade. And Rosa often complained about harassment and asked special permission from the Paris Police Department to wear male clothes so that she wouldn't be harassed anymore.
I dig it. This work is gorgeous, by the way. I'm looking at, the Horse Fair of 1835. Oh my gosh.
The light on the white horses.
I know, right? They're so shiny and muscular.
Did they grant her permission to wear men's clothing?
They did. So she gained permission to wear an artist's mock trousers and boots.
Cool.
And because of her boyish manner and her new outfit, and she always wore her hair kind of cropped.
Yeah.
She was able to kind of sketch and go about her business undisturbed.
She was able to do her job, basically. Right. Nice. There you go. Her gender wasn't a hindrance on anything that she was doing, because it is just painting.
I know.
And selling.
It's a whole thing.
I love it.
And so author Rosalie Shriver describes its submission, the Horse Fair. When it was finally finished and exhibited at the Salon of 1853, its creator was only 31 years old.
Wow.
Yet no other woman had achieved a work of such force and brilliance, and no other animal painter had produced a work of such size.
Yeah.
So the painting itself was 8 feet high.
Okay.
16 feet across.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. This is bigger than most bedrooms.
I know. Very large.
Oh my gosh.
And for those of you who can't see this painting, it's filled with huge horses that kind of dash around the foreground. They're being grappled by handlers and riders. And in between 3 kind of brilliantly dappled gray horses sits a rider on a chestnut horse. It's believed that the figure with a blue smock, who has its face kind of turned to the viewer and smiling, is Rosa herself.
Really? Oh my gosh. Okay. I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. I will definitely make sure I put the picture in the show notes, but oh my gosh, I love that. Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that she put herself in the work. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And after this, Rosa was made exempt from having to submit further salon entries. What I assume this means is that there was kind of a juried process where you would submit it and then it would
get
approved.
They were cleared or something like that.
But from then on, she could kind of just submit whatever she wanted.
Just tell us what size it is and we'll find a wall.
Exactly. And in addition to that, it also garnered her international notoriety. Queen Victoria even invited her to visit England, where she met many notable British artists and socialites and kind of gained this kind of broad circle of friends.
Yeah. I mean, the Queen loves her horses, so yes, okay, I can totally see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let the horse lady come to the castle.
Exactly, we'd be best friends. And she was a very busy lady from then on. She managed her studio. She taught with her sister at a drawing school for young women that her father formerly directed. She traveled around Europe and much more. She also continued to collect animals, which caused some family drama as she traveled around and brought back exotic pets.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And
you brought home another llama?
I know.
Yes, I did.
After bringing back an otter from the Pyrenees, Bonheur's brother-in-law notes it had the bad habit of leaving its water tank and getting in between the sheets of Madame Mika's bed.
Ooh. Oh, a wet otter in between the
Probably not ideal.
Not so much.
No.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Very cute, I imagine.
Better than a snake.
I hope I don't know if she had snakes.
Maybe.
She seemed to collect a lot.
Right.
And so that was 1853, and then she started traveling a lot. And then by the mid 1850s, by around 1855 to 1857, she started finding the interest in her work and her life and the intense fame very distressing. And so in the summer of 1859, she moved away from Paris and bought a chateau and a farm in the small village of Bai, which is about 47 miles from Paris. So not too far. By nowadays driving, it would take about an hour and a half. But, I imagine it gave her the much needed seclusion that she needed.
Yes.
And so she was much happier in her kind of little secluded village. She spent her days painting in the forest and only invited close friends to her home. And so she continued to receive awards for her work, including the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor in 1865. Wow. This was received by Empress Eugenie, the wife of Napoleon III.
Oh, look at you dropping the Napoleon's reference.
And Rosa was actually close to the couple, and Eugenie is quoted as saying, "A genius has no gender."
Ooh,
so they were a fan.
Like that.
And sadly, a couple of decades later, her longtime companion Natalie died in 1889.
Gotcha.
Leaving Rosa pretty much heartbroken. She said to a friend, "How hard it is to be separated, for she had borne with me the mortifications. She alone knew me, and I, her only friend, knew what she was worth."
Aww. But she had a relatively long life, her partner, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
met when they were like late teens, mid-teens, and then they, and Natalie was probably in her 60s when she passed.
Gotcha.
And that it's worth noting as well that Natalie was an artist as well.
Gotcha.
She was a painter. But she didn't.
But she was
quite
taking
have
care of all of those
right.
animals.
And so a couple of years later, Rosa had kind of recovered some of her energy, and she began traveling around again.
Gotcha.
It's at this point that Rosa meets with Anna Klump, who's an American-born painter who studied and lived a long time in Europe. And at some point in 1898, there was a contract that was signed. Anna would paint 3 portraits of Bonheur and write her biography in exchange for a studio at the chateau. And so Rosa died less than a year later on May 25th, 1899. She was 77.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Nice.
And her biography was published in 1908 by Anna.
Gotcha.
The biography was based on Anna's own diary and Rosa's letters, sketches, and other writings.
Cute.
She told the story of Bonheur's life, how they met, fallen in love, and how she became Rosa's official portraitist and companion.
Oh, cute. That's what my follow-up question was going to be. I'm like, well, did the two of them hook up?
They did.
Yeah.
There was quite an age difference between them, but I have a feeling that it was very much mutual and consensual and all that. And Anna, in spite of the disapproval from both her own family and Bonheur's, was named the heir of Rosa's estate and presided over it the rest of her life. And all 3 ladies are interned together in Paris. Natalie is on one side of Rosa and Anna on the other. And
so cute.
So Rosa leaves this really great legacy due to her father's training and influences. She approached her artwork as a profession rather than a pastime. And she really rejected the expectations and binary gender roles. While her contemporaries like Mary Cassatt actively painted scenes showing how women of the time lived in kind of social cages.
Right.
Rosa instead just painted what she wanted to paint. Instead of commentary, she was just doing her own thing.
Yeah, I like that. She was living her truth. Yeah.
Absolutely. And she did have some influence on Impressionism, especially towards the end of her life, as she worked mostly outside of it instead of in her studio. And So, overall, Rosa was a very fierce individual who kind of chose her own trajectory of life and lived it to the fullest.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have a
especially-
feel-good story, too.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot of women that were pretty downtrodden or
Right.
died early or had
Mhm.
these tragedies,
Yeah.
and that just sounds like a really rich life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially tortured artists.
well,
I know.
Give her a
right?
hand.
But a successful artist,
Right.
and so early in history too, is like amazing.
Mhm.
Because wasn't Van Gogh like struggling around the same-ish time?
Yeah,
A little
I think
later, but
it
around
looked
the
like they
same
died
time.
the same year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Just as
Yeah.
that
he would have just started a little
contrastiness.
later. 'Cause he was younger, right? But
Well,
then died the same year.
he
I can't remember.
he
for
was
sure.
Yeah.
younger, but he only he died in his early 30s, I think.
That's
Yeah,
what I
he
thought.
was-
I
He
knew he
only
didn't make it to
was an
40.
artist for like
but-
10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, he passed in 1890, so he passed before
Okay.
this.
Okay, gotcha. But they
I'm
were
thinking it's
probably both
99.
trying. Yeah. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
But
She
Rosa was
way established.
fully established. Yeah,
he was
exactly. A
never
success
during
story.
his life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
time,
true. Interesting.
He probably, it wouldn't surprise me if he had copied some of her paintings, because that's what
Maybe.
you do.
As
like she
a
did
yeah
with the
to
Louvre,
get better. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Oh yeah, that's very true.
because he was very much of like
Yeah.
the farm life kind of thing.
Exactly.
I don't know how many times he freaking copied the sower or whatever.
Oh,
There's
that
like
one.
30 of those. I got a picture of them with their doggy though.
Oh,
and
does it
it's
say the
freaking
jockey's
adorable.
name?
No.
Oh, I know. For some odd reason, this is something in history. The farther you go back, the less you get pets' names.
Uh-huh.
It's just not right.
I know, right? Exactly. It's like, wait a minute. They probably all had beautiful names. No, that is a gorgeous piece that she
I'm
did.
gonna say
Oh
the
my
doggy's name is
goodness.
Crumpet.
Crumpet.
It looks
that's
like a
an
crumpet.
Amazing name.
Just because it looks like a crumpet,
It
or
looks kinda
because
almost like a corgi.
yeah,
It's like a corgi and a chihuahua had a baby.
yes,
Looks
exactly.
like a chunky chihuahua.
That's what I have, a chunky chihuahua, but that's because she has wiener dog in her. Oh, I love it. Did y'all have any questions for JC? Because I feel like JC like nailed it.
I was going to say, that was detailed,
I know.
beautiful, great
Thank you,
information.
thank you.
I'm
Amazing person you
inspired.
picked.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. All the things.
The only snarky thing I had to throw out there was I looked at her horse painting, and it just made me think of all those horse painting fails you see online. Or people from history, they're like, draw me a horse. And it's like, have you ever seen a horse?
Right.
Yes.
Yes, this
Horse
is very
from the
true.
side. I know
Right.
we've all seen those memes, but
Uh-huh.
no, she knows how to draw a horse.
Yes,
I
she
love those ones.
does.
Are gorgeous.
Oh,
So definitely check out the
geez.
show notes to see her work or Google it.
Yes. I'm gonna put more stuff in the show
I love
notes,
all
'cause-
those of the. Has this artist ever seen a baby?
Right.
Those are so great.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
Well, that wraps it up for this week. Join us next week for another cool woman of history as Gal's Guide podcast continues. Thank you for listening.
For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gals Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.